Let's get into it. It was 8 years ago, 9 seasons ago, that Russell Wilson became a member of the Seattle Seahawks. There's plenty of talk regarding whether or not he will finish his career in Seattle. He claims to want to play until he's 45. Some stuff has emerged in recent days. Sunday, one of the Super Bowl Sunday splash reports, Charean. The Seahawks getting phone calls about the availability of Russell Wilson. Seahawks say he's not available. A report from Monday night, Jason Lockenfora of CBS Sports. Russell Wilson's camp is frustrated with the lack of blocking that Wilson gets, and the situation bears serious monitoring or something ominous like that. There's something going on, but look, time will tell how it all plays out. Earlier today, Russell Wilson on Peacock on the Dan Patrick Show. Here he is, and we're going to play some of what he said. For starters, here's Wilson talking about his desire to be more involved in the team's personnel decisions.
How much input should the quarterback have in organizational moves? Veteran quarterback.
Yeah, I think it depends on who it is. I think.
Well, how about you? How much do you have any say in what Seattle does offensively with free agents or draft picks?
I think that it's, I think that ultimately, for me personally, I think that I want to be able to be involved, because at the end of the day, it's your legacy, it's your team's legacy, it's the guys you get to go into the huddle with.
That's a long-winded way of not answering my question. Are you involved in personnel decisions? Have you been involved in personnel decisions?
Not as much. I don't. I think that.
Do you want to be involved, Russ?
Yeah, I think it helps. I think it helps to be involved more. But I think that dialogue should happen more often.
Look, I've said this time and again as it relates to all quarterbacks. The coaching staff and the front office and ownership want the quarterback to be a quasi-member of management, a boss on the shop floor, setting the example, showing up early, staying late, motivating, inspiring, holding accountable. It's so much better coming from the quarterback. And then when it's time to have the management meeting, oh, sorry, supervisors only, you're just one of the employees. That doesn't fly, especially with the best quarterbacks. And we've been on to this, now that Tom Brady has shown what happens when the front office and the coaching staff say, hey, fine, we'll get whoever you want. Some of these other great quarterbacks that are jostling to get to number 2 in the way of Super Bowl wins, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, I think they're going to start pushing a little bit harder for some of the power that management in Tampa gave to Tom Brady, Charean.
Yeah, Mike, and you started this, and you were the first one on it. We were texting back and forth, the group on the PFT chain, of who the quarterbacks are that can do this. And Russell Wilson certainly is one of those. I don't think anybody would argue with that he's a franchise quarterback who should dictate at least a little bit who the personnel is, at least on offense. He can encourage some guys to come to Seattle. There's no doubt about that. He can encourage them possibly to take less money to come to Seattle. So why wouldn't you want a guy like Russell Wilson involved in some of these decisions? You would think that he would be much happier playing there and more willing to do what it takes to win. Not that he's not doing that now, but he would have more of an invested interest in what they're doing, Mike.
Prime example, Antonio Brown. Remember we heard stories, rumors, reports about the possibility of the Seahawks adding Antonio Brown? That was Russell Wilson. And so Tom Brady gets the guy he wants, and what happens? Antonio Brown catches a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. Yeah, according to Clyde Christensen, he ran the wrong route, but still, he won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. And I'm not saying that Antonio Brown would have been the difference maker for the Seahawks, but it's the idea of you're going to listen to the quarterback or you're not. And if you don't, the quarterback eventually is going to start thinking, maybe I need to go somewhere. Will listen to me. The Tom Brady example, he came from New England, Patriot way. Do your job. Do your expletive deleted job. It's not your job as the quarterback to determine who the players are. Do your job, Tom. 20 years of that gets old. 1 year of it in Tampa, and look at what happens for Tom Brady. So, with all that said, here's Russell Wilson from the Dan Patrick Show on the question of whether or not he is available for a trade.
What do you make of CBS Jason Lockenfora saying that Seattle had gotten calls for possible, trade talks with you. Do you believe that Seattle has gotten calls?
Yeah, I definitely believe they've gotten calls for sure. I think that, I think anytime you're, a player that, tries to produce every week and has done it for, consistently, I think people are going to call for sure. And I think it's part of the process.
Yeah, but you're a franchise quarterback. You're a Hall of Fame quarterback. You're not available, are you?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm available or not. That's a Seahawks question.
Hey, look, there's a belief in some league circles that eventually Russell Wilson will play for another team. And here's how it's going to go down. This year, I'd be stunned if it happens pre-June 1. If it happens pre-June 1, Charean, the Seahawks take a $39 million cap charge. And this is one of those years where you don't have to do it before June 1. If there's not going to be an offseason program, who cares? Do the trade after June 1 if there's a team out there that decides they really want Russell Wilson. But where this is going to hit critical mass is the next time Wilson's agent, Mark Rodgers, begins negotiating another contract for Russell Wilson, because every time that Wilson has done an extension, what's happened? He's gotten to the top of the market. He's gotten to the top of the market. He's gotten to the top. Well, I can't say it 3 times because he's only done it twice. The next time, he's going to want to get to the top of the market. At some point, the amount of money that Russell Wilson wants is going to be so much, the Seahawks are going to say, nope, too much. We can't justify paying that much to Russell Wilson. And that's when they go back and they find a rookie who makes very little, and they can use all that to create the Legion of Boom with a new round of players who get paid a lot of money. However that plays out, I think that's the pressure point, and I think that comes next year, not this year. I think we got one more year before we're either going to have another major contract for Russell Wilson or he's going to be traded.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. I think this is a key season for him and a key season for the Seahawks to see what they do. In his second season, they win the Super Bowl in 2013. They come back in 2014 and they get to the Super Bowl and they lose the Super Bowl. He's 5-1 in those 2 seasons. And frankly, we all know they should have won that Super Bowl. They should have had back-to-back championships. It didn't work out because of the interception there on the goal line for the Seahawks. And they've never seemed to recover from that. They're 3-5 in the postseason since then. That loss seemed to take a lot of juice out of them. And so they need to figure out how to get Russell Wilson back to the Super Bowl this year. It's not going to be easy with the salary cap going down, but they need to figure it out, whatever it is, or I see him, as you do, leaving after this year and going somewhere else. It is an amazing time in this league right now. We've never seen this before, Mike. You saw quarterbacks go to one place and stay forever. That's not the way it is anymore.
And I think as more and more are having success elsewhere, specifically Tom Brady, it's beginning to spread. And quarterbacks are willing. And here's the thing that's kept it from happening in the past. I think that quarterbacks have refrained from even starting down that path verbally for fear of becoming an enemy within their fan base. And 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I don't think you hear a quarterback be as candid as Russell Wilson was being. He's being pretty candid. And Aaron Rodgers has stayed away from that line because I think one of the things he doesn't want to become is a pariah like Brett Favre was. I think that if and when there is a separation between Rodgers and the Packers, Rodgers wants to position it as it was them, not me. I wanted to stay. Once you start talking like maybe you want to go somewhere else, and Wilson's very diplomatic. It's not like he said, trade me. But there's enough there. He's getting close to that line. He's getting close to that third rail. That's where it becomes potentially problematic, but I think we're going to see more quarterbacks willing to do it because ultimately these guys want to win. And this is one of my complaints about Matthew Stafford. 12 years in Detroit, and he put up with it. There's an item from Carlos Monterrez of the Detroit Free Press. I've been meaning to write about it at PFT. It's trapped behind a paywall, but I got myself a copy of it. Monterrez basically said, hey, in 12 years, I never saw a desire for greatness from Matthew Stafford. And that's one of the things I've been saying. Look, if you're not saying, we got to get better, we got to get better, we got to get better, if you're just like, hey, I work here, you're part of the problem. And you could argue Matthew Stafford's been part of the problem in Detroit because he didn't have that burning desire to win. The great ones have the burning desire to win, Charean.
Well, and here's the other thing, Mike. If you go somewhere else, you have far more power than where you are. So Tom Brady didn't have that power in New England, but before he signed with Tampa, I'm sure he said, hey, I want to bring some guys with me. I want to do it my way. I want to show these guys how to win. And the Bucs won one Super Bowl in their history and not since 2002. We're all in. Whatever you want, Tom, come sign with us and we'll let you do whatever. That's the way it is when you go somewhere else. That's the way it is for anybody in almost any business when you go somewhere else and you've been really good with where you are. You have a lot more say at the second site that you go to, Mike.
Wilson also said that he is frustrated with getting hit too much. That was the guts of what Jason La Canfora reported on Monday night. I think it's more than the offensive line issues. I think it's the offense. I think it's the team. I think it's everything that he looks around and sees with the Seahawks team that hasn't been good enough to get past the divisional round since 2014. Yes, the last time they went to the Super Bowl is the last time they made it out of the divisional round. And these quarterbacks are confident to the point of delusional. All professional athletes are. Russell Wilson isn't going to say it's on me. It's on somebody else. That's just how you're wired. I'm doing everything I can. You put me on the Chiefs, we're in the Super Bowl. You put me on the Buccaneers, we're in the Super Bowl. You put me on this team, we're better than we are right now. And I think that the great quarterbacks can say that honestly and truthfully, that they're doing everything they can to win, but there's 21 other guys between the starting offense and defense that are on the field that may not be good enough. And we're going to see, I believe, more quarterbacks pushing for more power in the cities where they currently play. And if they don't get it, they're going to be pushing to get out of the place where they are. And we've seen this come up with receivers, running backs, other position players on both sides of the ball. They want out. Jamal Adams, you want out, you want out. You know, it's easier to say to a guy who isn't a quarterback who wants out, you got a contract. It's hard to say it to a quarterback. The minute the quarterback decides he's not going to be that boss on the shop floor, that he's not going to put in all those extra hours, that he's not as invested as he's been in the past, that he's going to take and I hate to pick on Matthew Stafford, but he's the embodiment of this concept. If they're going to become Matthew Stafford and say, I just work here, well, good luck winning games then.
Yeah, and Mike, I talked to somebody within the Texans organization today, and they're still intent on they're not trading Deshaun Watson. Well, this is going to come to a head because Deshaun Watson is intent on not playing for the Texans. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And these quarterbacks, the handful, have a lot of power, and they're now using that power to get what they want.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.